with a form of a verb to be. So it would be usually is or are statements. In this case, the modifying participle will agree with a noun in gender and number, but not in definiteness. So in order to distinguish attributive or predicative use, you will have to basically see if it agrees in definiteness or doesn't agree in definiteness. Okay? And the example is Hahar Bo'er Ba'esh. The mountain was burning with fire. With fire actually is written separately, but in one slide it's together. The mountain was burning with fire. And the third use is substantive use. The participle is used independently as a noun. Substantive use we already discussed. When adjective acts substantively, it basically replaces the subject or a noun in the sentence. Okay? Participle is used independently as a noun, indicating the one who performs a certain action. It may function as a subject or object of a verb. Take a definite article, appear in the construct chain, or take pronominal suffixes and prepositional prefixes. So this participle will take anything, in order to make your life miserable. So watch out. And it will not be translated as a participle. It will be translated as something else. So, for example, Hayoshevet Baganim. You who dwell in the gardens. And you see, you who dwell is the one word. Because the participle took on itself what? First of all, it took on definite article. Secondly, it took a suffix. Right? What kind of person? A number.
It's got to be the same person.
Yeah, it's definitely second person. Is that plural or singular?
Plural.
Okay. I'll take it at that. Alright. Call passive participle. There's the fun part. The passive participle inflects like an adjective with both gender and number. It is not inflected, however, for person. Let's look at the example. Katol, plural ketolim. There's your proper rules of reduction. Ketola, plural it's ketolot. So basically, this is your whole paradigm. Gender and number, singular or plural, and that's it. There's no person. There's no first, second, third person. This is your whole paradigm. How do we recognize participles, passive participles, should I say, in a sentence? The diagnostic feature of the cult passive participle is the kametz shurek vowel pattern. If in the first place it was holem with tsere, now it's kametz shurek. It may also be spelled defectively with a kibbutz, as in katub. So it's a-u sound as opposed to o-e, right? Vocal pattern. A-u, not o-e. Katul as opposed to katol or kotel. Okay? Katul. Call passive participle for weak verbs. Azuv, abandoned. Patuach, opened. Sanu, hated. Yadua, known. Shaul, asked. Whose name is it? Saul. Asked. Naua, Natua, planted from Nata'a. Shahut, slaughtered from Shahat. Arur, cursed from Arar. Akul, eaten. Ya'utz, advised. These are some examples of passive participles. We should note passive participles for weak verbs for third A. There's a slightly different forms here. Banui. And look how it looks in the plural. Banuyim, with 2 yards. Banuyah for feminine, and then banuyot. Very interesting pattern. Shurek, yod, cholim, vav. See? And all this with hay being dropped at the end of the lexical form. Okay? Uses for cal passive participle. Same thing, attributive use. The passive participle follows the noun it modifies and agrees in gender, number, and definiteness, just like active participle. For example, in this following sentence, Chaberit haketuva besefer hatorah hazeh. The covenant written in this book of the law. Written, haketuva, from katav, to write. See, and that shurek will point you out to the right direction in identifying what it is. Next example of a cal passive participle, when it's used predicatively. The passive participle either precedes or follows the noun it modifies and agrees in gender and number only, not definiteness. So just like with the active participle, only in this instance it could either precede a noun or follow it. Okay? So the only way to find out whether it's related to the noun nearby is if it agrees in gender and number with it. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Blessed is Adonai forever. There's your participle. So it precedes the noun in this instance. And then the last type of usage is substantive use. Passive participles can be used independently as nouns, also like active participles, indicating the one who performs a certain action. When a participle is used substantively, it behaves just like a noun. For example, in this following sentence, Vehechalutz ya'avur lepenieru Adonai. And the one equipped for battle will pass before the ark of Adonai. Lifneye aru. There's a constant chain. The one equipped for battle. There's your substantival use. Okay. How do we parse participles? Like a verb, the participle has stem and voice. We already discussed that. Like an adjective, it is inflected for gender and number. So when parsing, you will be required to identify stem, conjugation with voice, gender, number, and lexical form. Like in these examples. For example, Yoshev is kal active participle, masculine singular of Yashav. Or Baruch is kal passive participle, masculine singular of Barach. Okay. It's fairly simple.